So with all of these reviews and tutorials coming into this channel, not to mention building in the pipeline, I figured I might actually pivot here for a second and discuss a guide and tips when it comes to YouTube tutorials and reviews, both from a creator standpoint and from the consumer standpoint. I'll catch you back here in just a sec. Burned my hand last night, and you know, for someone who actually talked with his hands a lot, stings. What's up, tubulars? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, that's right, there's a ton of tutorials and reviews that are coming into the pipeline on this channel, so if you are interested in that from a creative, entrepreneurial standpoint, in helping you elevate and scale and do all of those things and just learn and, you know, be entertained as well. I mean, the charisma is just rolling off. Then you should really think about subscribing and don't miss a beat here. And I can't wait to actually provide more content here as the channel grows. And of course, speaking of that growth and speaking of what's happening here, yes, I've been doing a few more reviews and tutorials on this channel. And I figured, you know what? I need to really put together something that can speak to both the creators that are thinking about actually doing something like this with your channel, but I also want to talk about the consumer perspective, because I do think that there's a lot of parallel, and I think that we actually help each other out. I really do. And I'm gonna expand on that within this video. So my first tip really from a creator standpoint is that if you're embarking on this endeavor, then I really feel like you do need to kind of niche down. Find something that speaks to you, that you're experienced with, that you know a lot about. So as an example, I did a video last year, last fall in 2018, about podcasting, and not just podcasting, but podcasting gear that you can use to elevate when it comes to working with remote hosts and guests. So virtually, meaning they're not in the same space that you are. And the thing is that I could really talk about it and be very fluent with it and very fluid with it, because it is a setup that I've used for years, and I've experimented with so many different setups in that podcasting space. And this was something that not only did I use years ago, I still currently use it today. And so I feel like I am able to articulate the message, the education when it comes to this gear, but also to be able to answer the questions that end up in the comment section. And I'm going to be talking about just the comment section here in just a sec. And from a consumer standpoint, when you're doing your research on a YouTuber, and there's a variety of folks out there that are learning. And trust me, I still have videos up on this channel, and I go back and look at those old videos and I'm like, what was I talking about? I just have spent more time on this platform and honing my craft, honing my skill. And that's the thing, I'm still learning. I don't know everything, and I'm still learning. And I appreciate the community asking questions and just, lighting me up in that regard. Definitely stick with something that's in your lane and that you feel comfortable with. Now, the next thing from a creator standpoint is if you're looking to stretch a little bit, then you're going to be putting in a little bit of work. So as a filmmaker, I need help with editing, in the sense that I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and I don't want to talk about the MacBook, versus Windows machines. I'm in that lane of tech. And so I didn't want to necessarily upgrade and move over to a PC or to upgrade the MacBook Pro. So for filmmakers out there, if you already know about this, or for the gearheads or people that are familiar with this, you can actually build an external graphics unit. So a box that actually helps elevate your graphics, and not just that performance, but then lowers your workload, or at least, the time to get things done. I needed that from a business standpoint to be able to fulfill the needs of the client and this YouTube channel, and to be able to just lower my workload a lot. And the eGPU was the answer. I wanted to build it, and not only build it, but I wanted to get this on camera. I wanted to document this. Well, folks, here's the thing. From the behind the scenes standpoint, that took me just research alone, and filming and testing and taking notes literally on the backs of envelopes, Post-it notes on my arm, wherever I could, to get all that information in so that I could put it into my video editor. 57 hours. It took me 57 hours of research and recording and all of these shots and building it. And so like, people might be like, oh no, I'm good. I don't want to do this anymore. I feel nauseous. But the thing is like, I want to give you perspective, those of you out there consuming this content, that it's not always that easy for some of us out here that are providing this to you. And here's the thing, like, I didn't know if it was going to get like a ton of views or any engagement. Fortunately, it did, because like, that's why I wanted to put it out there. I wanted to help answer people's questions and show them like, hey, this is my use case. This might be your use case too. And this may help you make a buying decision, because it's a small investment. Well, small, medium investment, but an investment that's worthwhile that I still continue to use today. But just keep in mind that once I, hit that upload after the 57 hours, I had to get back in there and answer people's questions. And the behind the scenes of like reviewing products and gear and software, and it gets messy, folks. It can get messy. And I have literally destroyed my office space trying to film some of this content. But for those of us that choose to do it and love doing it, like, we're willing to do that. Like, we're willing to put in that work. So it's fine. And of course, from the creator standpoint, you're going to help out those that are viewing this information by citing your work and giving credit when and where you can. Because this eGPU, like, I know how to build stuff. I'm pretty tech savvy. However, I still needed some help, and I wanted to point people into a direction, like a resource that I found valuable. And that kind of just helps give you some credibility too, that you're using credible sources out there. And like I said, folks, nothing is perfect. And I'm still learning. I was learning during that process. I can't answer like every question. That's why I cite these sources. So if you need to pivot over there to get some information, they can also be able to be a resource for you to help answer those questions. Now, before we get into the comment section, I want to just kind of sidestep here really quick and talk about expectations from a consumer standpoint, in that looking at the title, looking at the description, and realizing that, like, based on the title, and it could be kind of clickbaity, but just know that if it says unboxing and initial impressions, then it's coming out of the box, and you're likely going to only get just little pieces of information, because this may be the first time this creator is actually like looking at it. Wow, they use some premium cardboard on this thing. So, all right, so let's talk about the comment section here for a second. The questions are so powerful. What I mean by that is that we as creators really appreciate just the comment section, not just to get feedback, but there are folks out there, and you know who you are, whether you were in school and there were those kids that were always like raising their hands, and you were the one that were like in the back and you didn't raise your hand.
Oh, please. Mr. Meyer.
Well, and then somebody might have asked the question that you had, and you're like, ooh, thank goodness they asked that question, because I was just too timid to ask it. Get in there and ask it. Like, ask those questions. They're very helpful. This is why we build this content. It's not about just like the views and like growing the channel. It's literally like, I want to help people. Like, if you're making buying decisions or life decisions or any kind of other decision that I can help with, because I have experienced this firsthand. Oh, but one thing, let me also say that if you're asking a question, before you do that, especially if it's something that may have already been asked, like down below, like scroll through the comments and see if somebody has already asked that question. Jimmy, we already answered the question. Scroll down, man. Definitely check there first. But if nobody's asked that question, then definitely put yours in there. I appreciate that. And I know that not all creators, all YouTubers are jumping in there and answering every question. So there's also realistic expectations there as well, where maybe you don't get your question answered. But I will tell you, on this channel right now, today, even as things grow, I'm really trying hard to keep up with all of the questions. And that's the thing, creators, like, we value the connection here, and that's what you should be valuing, is, again, not so much about the views, but people like responding to you and engaging with you. And YouTube definitely likes that, because it's a search engine. And so if they see that kind of engagement happening, they're definitely going to be serving your videos more. But really, just, aside from the analytics, just think about how you're helping people. Like, you're answering questions that people may have had or didn't know that they had until you actually presented the information. And yes, I realize that there are some people out there that get a little rambunctious in the comments section. So we know who you are. And the thing is, I've had people say like, oh my gosh, it's so saturated, like filmmakers and photographers, or like the tech and the gearheads that are doing reviews, or like whatever it is that you're into, and like you want to start as a creator doing something like this. Well, here's the thing, like people connect with you. So there are YouTubers out there that are just really like, this is the information, I'm providing it, and this is how I'm delivering it this way, very serious. And there are plenty of people who like that, and there are people who like to deliver it like that. And then there's you that has your own personality out there, your own just sort of like flavor. It's like I said, it's just rolling off of you, and people connect with that. So don't worry about the white space and like, are there too many people doing it? Just do it. Just get out there, because you know what? People like various perspectives. Consumers like various, don't you? Don't you like to, like after this video, you might go on to another video, be like, all right, well, I saw, I heard what Kevin was saying, but let me see what Steve was saying too. And oh yeah, there's definitely some similarities. There's some differences, like all of these things that you just don't worry about it. So as I was saying, the comment section is gold. And the thing from a creator standpoint and the consumer, you're helping us out. The people that are using YouTube to learn, to be entertained, to find some value, it is a help, because as a creator, like if you are thinking you have a block or you don't know where to go next, like again, there's the analytics. So as a creator, like you can look at the analytics and say like, wow, the views just went off the charts on this. I mean, it went completely nuts. But going back to the comments, that really is gold right there, because that can help you like keep building content, keep answering questions. That's one of the reasons why I've got so much stuff in the pipeline, is that I've had people reach out to me in the comments section and DM'd me on social that have questions. And I'm like, hey, I got a video coming out. Just be patient. I'm going to explain that in more detail. And so you can build content for months, if not years to come, just on that comment section alone. And again, like that video that I did on the podcasting, like the virtual guests and stuff, really folks, I get in there and I have done some crazy, like outright, like some nutty responses. Like when I look at like how much I respond on that, sometimes I'm like, whoa, I can't even believe like I responded. And like the folks in the community are like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect you to give so much detail. You know what? I didn't either. But like, I thrive on that. Like I thrive on helping people make an informed decision. I love teaching. I love explaining things. And I love to I'm not talking to the camera. I'm actually talking to you. And I really appreciate that. And of course, talking about, the work, and folks, like I said, be respectful in that comment section. And, the creators out there, realize like my workflow, like this is another SD card that I just got in, because here's the thing. And this is just some behind the scenes stuff that is like crazy. So I probably have about 1 terabytes worth of like SD cards for my camera, because the way it works is like I record a ton of footage, like whether it's B-roll, talking head stuff like this, vlogging or whatever. And what happens is like I will back it up on an external drive somewhere so that I can work on it more easily later, but I still keep a second backup until I finally cut and edited like that video completely and have uploaded it. Then I can actually format the cards. And then eventually, like what will happen is like once that's cut and good to go, I can format, because the other stuff gets moved over to the archives onto the server. Now for some of the creators out there, you're like, wait, SD cards, external drives, servers, I'm out. No, seriously, you just start small, but as you grow, just realize like I have to have a closet, like literally a closet worth of space to hold all of the gear and all of the storage, and it takes over your life. It's funny like how you get excited about like, oh my gosh, there's a deal on the 128 gig SD cards here. I can get this for like $30. Like I salivate over things like that. Now the brand deals, all right, so here's the thing. From a creator standpoint and from the consumer standpoint, I think there's a lot of parallel here. From a creator standpoint, I know plenty of people get excited about like, oh my gosh, I want to get to a point where people are sending me free stuff, and I even want to get to a point where maybe I'm getting paid for this. So first and foremost, I'm all about transparency. So from the consumer standpoint, I know you might think those brand deals and the sponsorships where the creator may feel inauthentic, and I'll talk about that just in a second. But from the creator standpoint, yes, be transparent about it. So whether somebody gave this to you, like a brand gave it to you, and or if they've paid you for it. And honestly, here's what I just recommend. Like, I'm just very upfront with brands. Like, I have people reach out to me like all the time and want me to, like, even as small as this channel is currently as of this recording right now, they will reach out to me and they will want to send me stuff. And like, I'll look at it and like right up front, I might say, and respectfully so, like, you know what? I don't think this is right for my channel. I don't think this is right for the community. I don't think I can really give you the value that you're really looking for. And I'm not talking about like all positive reviews, and I'll explain that in a second. I just mean like, if it doesn't speak to me, it's probably not going to speak to my community. I can't really speak about it. And thank you so much for reaching out. You know, I'd love to try to work with you on something else, but like this isn't right. And now, of course, for the things that I feel more experience with, like something that I might feel like, okay, this is in my lane, this is something I'm interested in, I will always tell a brand, like, you need to give me a little bit of time. Because like brands that reach out and say, hey, we got to launch like in the next 3 days. We're going to send this thing to you. Can you put a video up in like, you know, I don't know, the next 24 hours? I mean, that is definitely really unrealistic. Again, for the brands that get it, and if I were to say like, I want to give this an honest review, and I want to talk about the pros, the cons, the things that are areas for improvement. There's always areas for improvement, and there could be multiple areas for improvement. So that's what you're going to get out of this channel, and that's what I always recommend to the creator, is to find value in just being very authentic, very honest about what it is that you are working with. So don't just like take, you know, like a land grab full of like tech just because you want more gear. Like, because you're helping people make an informed decision here. And again, like I've had situations where I've had a brand send me stuff. I thought about reviewing it. Like I'm looking at, like, I'm like, does this fit? Do I feel comfortable with it? And I've reached back out to them. I say, you know what? I really appreciate you sending this to me, but I just don't think I can make this work. I don't think like I can do this justice. I don't think that I feel comfortable with it, and I'm willing to send it back to them. And sometimes like maybe they want it back because it's like a beta or something like that, or just they're like, no, you keep it, enjoy it, and if you eventually figure it out or if you find it in your workflow, then just think of us. And you know, I appreciate that. And from a consumer standpoint, you might be thinking like, everybody's selling out here. You know, they're getting paid for this stuff. They're sponsored by Canon. They're sponsored by Sony. So like everything that's coming out of their mouths is just all. And yeah, there are definitely some creators out there that may seem to be like, I don't want to say like, you know, got the hands in the pockets of the brand, but you definitely have to, you know, feel that out a little bit. And ultimately there may be some tech out there, regardless of sponsorship or not, where people are just really excited about it and they have like tons of good things to say and very little like negative things to say. And I definitely have gear like that where I have very little negative to say, but I will definitely share that with the community, because that might be something that you're wondering, is that a drawback? And so just, you know, do your research as a consumer with the YouTubers that you're connecting with. And again, realize that just because they're sponsored, just because they might be paid or they got the gear for free, well, like, listen, you know, that's kind of like the take home piece here, is that this is a side hustle for most YouTubers. I am a creative entrepreneur in many spaces, but I'm also an entrepreneur even outside of the creative space. And this right now, still, as of right now, it's still a side hustle. And so anytime that we could actually not only have to pay for the gear, but then maybe, you know, through affiliate links, or don't even count on AdSense, but really, like, if there's ways that we can monetize, and it's not about just kind of filling our pockets and like living fat, it's literally like putting that money back into the investment of making more of this content for the consumer. This, again, it's a huge endeavor. I mean, I literally had to like make sure all of those photos were lined up, and they're still not really perfect. It takes work to do this. I like doing this, and I will continue to do this, I hope, for years to come. So I appreciate it, and I love the feedback. I love the comments. I love the community. I just want you to know that I want to give you the information that I think is valuable to you, and I want to answer your questions as best as I possibly can. And if I can't, I want to send you somewhere that can actually answer that question. All right, so let's get out here on this one. Go out there and do things that matter. Keep rocking those faces. Thanks so much for hanging out. I can't wait to see you on the next one. I'm serious, like this place was like, I mean, the kids had stuff all over. Like I had to like kind of get the blankets all squared away here, and you know, get my level out and make sure like that was, seriously, it was probably a little overkill. I should have just, you know what, just see it as it is. That's just how we roll, you know. Let's just forget it.